Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm Rod Chang. I'm your host. Once a week, we will invite the astrologer to join us to talk about the current transit and also the different story behind the astrologer's work. And today, I'm very excited because I'm going to invite one of my friend, Wade Cave, going to join us to talk about his current job and there's a huge event he's organized about. So I'm really looking forward to hear his news. And let me go to code Wade first, okay? It was interesting because some of you probably noticed last week was a little bit of problem because I think Wade used another account, so let me call him a STA. Hello,
Hey, sorry
hey,
about that. I was in the wrong Instagram.
that's all right. But then you are on the school account. That's good.
Yeah. So I moved back into my normal account, so it'll be a little bit easier. I think the school account has done a lot of advertising, so it's nice to use my personal one. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So what should we? Are we stay here? Are we stay here? It's
we're
okay.
gonna
Cool.
stay here. Yeah.
Cool. Oh my God, I'm so excited to have you because I think last time I have when I was conversation with someone, I think was with Lian, and then you're kind of sending few messages. I said, "Oh, wait, using the Instagram. That's cool. I definitely have to find that occasion to have a run a live with you." Most people know Wade about his work on the Harari astrology and election astrology. Basically, it's like a traditional technique. Wait, but I think currently you have at this moment you have a very interesting project running, right?
Yes, we've got something really exciting going on right now. So next weekend, I can't believe how fast
Yeah.
it's coming. Like it's like coming very soon. Um, Through the School of Traditional Astrology, we are offering a World Astrology Summit. So, this is an online conference that is geared toward mundane astrology. But I suppose it's helpful just to remind folks that when we say mundane astrology, we don't necessarily mean everything's political, finance,
Mm-hmm.
astrology. At the end of the day, anything that's not natal astrology, that's not horary astrology, and not electional astrology, 9 times out of 10, it's going to fall into the bucket of mundane astrology. It's everything else, stuff that involves multiple people. So anything having to do with scientific advancement and
Mm-hmm.
research, anything having to do with weather and meteorology, anything having to, of course, you got finance and politics, but also world religions,
Mm-hmm.
anything in arts and culture, pop news, all that. It's all, part of the mundane sphere. So we have this conference that's coming up next weekend over 2 days. It's on Saturday and it's on Sunday, and it's being offered online. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about how you guys beginning this conference and was kind of crazy and fantastic because I think was probably last week when I was chatting with Christine Skinner. Then she just say because when you guys met each other early this year in Turkey, you guys just say, oh, we should have a kind of a mundane theme or something. And very next day you are already have a full plan. Are you
Yeah.
crazy?
Well, I'll tell you all about it. So, for
Yes,
the last,
please.
yeah, for the last couple of years, for every Aries ingress, I've been having a small version of this. So I've invited
Ah.
people from China. So Jupiter has spoken for us before,
Mm-hmm.
China, Australia, UK, and the US. So those four
Mm-hmm.
countries to come and present forecasts based on the Aries ingress.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been very well received. And this year, I got a message after we did it, and somebody said, "Do you think you might want to do it for the Libra ingress?" And I thought, I hadn't really considered
Mm-hmm.
the Libra ingress, but let me think about it. And at the STA, we already had a weekend. We do every like 2 years. We do a conference over the Libra ingress, or at
Ah.
least we did one 2 years ago, and I think that's probably the pace that we will keep to. So I just asked Deborah, and I said, how would you feel about us doing a mundane conference over this weekend? And she said, if you've got a plan, if you've got an idea, let's do it. So then I was in Turkey, and I was in Turkey with Christine Skinner and a number of other fantastic astrologers. It was great to see Christine because I don't get to see her in person as often as I would like.
Yeah.
I remember getting to see her at the astrology student conference in 2016. This was before Trump was elected. This was before Brexit had happened. So I remembered, getting to spend time with her then. And we had, I think it was lunch or dinner together, whatever it was. It was over a few drinks. And so I, spoke with her a little bit about, I think it would be really great to offer some kind of mundane conference. And she came back. I don't remember who said what, but I know I told her, I've been thinking about, here's the platform that I've been thinking. And she said, oh, I could promise you people would be there. And I said, okay, well, let's do it. And I was like, would you like to join? Should we do this together? We can combine forces. And she said, absolutely. She wanted to have everything up and ready by the next month, but I was like, there's no way I can have it. But because I'd been working on it for a few weeks already, I already had the structure kind of outlined. And so I came to Christine and I said, well, what do you think about this? Is, on the Saturday, we just do talks. And on the Sunday, we do regional forecasts for different areas of the world. She liked it. And so we shook hands and said, okay, well, we're both in it. So we put it on each other's calendar. And so right then and there, yeah, it was like, I'll be back in touch soon and it's coming. So yeah, it was very quick. But I think probably Christine thought it was even faster than it was because she didn't know how much conversation had happened before.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, it is true. I want to come back to what you talked about before, about the definition of a mundane astrology. I'm 100% with you. I agree with you, but it is very interesting because every time I'm into mundane, and every time when I try to invite our colleague, I say, do you want to give a talk about the mundane astrology? And they were just like, but I'm not into politics. I was just like, you don't need to talk about politics. You can even just talk about Oppenheimer or Barbie.
You can talk about Will Smith's marriage and like his family. You can talk about award shows and what's going on there. You can talk about Van Gogh. You can talk about the Impressionist era of in art. You can talk about anything that kind of moves past one person and one person's chart, and we're starting to talk about the astrology of masses or the astrology of events. Even the astrology of an event is very much going to be focused. So, I think I'm with you. I have a very broad appreciation for what mundane astrology is, but mostly I think that's because I think that people are not used to thinking about it outside of financial astrology, political astrology.
Yeah. Well, it is very interesting because when people heard about astrology, I mean, inside the astrology circle, when astrology heard about mundane astrology, we usually, focus on politics, country, region, climate change, or financial astrology, even all the disaster. Mostly we are just focused on disaster. And I just like that because what I prepared over the weekend, when you heard about Morocco has an earthquake, then you immediately turn on a transit chart. Look, have you seen this one and that one? That's what happened. I just wait a minute. Do you know that Uranus on the angle is you can happen another 3 times in the same day?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I noticed you are into the mundane astrology was when you would give a talk in the Oxford summer school.
I wondered if you were going to bring up the summer school because I remember that presentation. I talked about the Aries ingress chart.
Yes, I remember. That was fantastic. To be honest, because when I hear about you talk, I say, "Oh, we can talk." I mean. I think that was my first time. That was my first time checking the Aries English chart in a traditional astrology view. Because I was trained in faculty, so we learned the Aries English chart, but not really go into the traditional view. And you really opened a door. I was like, I love it. We have more things to talk about it. Yeah. So could you give us some idea why traditional astrologer focus on the Aries ingress chart?
Yes, absolutely. So just to clarify what an Aries ingress chart, in case we have anyone viewing who's not clear what that is. The Aries ingress chart is a chart which focuses on the sun's ingress into the sign of Aries. So that happens around the 20th or 21st of March every year. And this has been a very, very important staple in very ancient astrology. I mean, it's not, Hellenistic in nature. It far outdates, the hero that we have. And there's a lot of different reasons why that particular technique would be important for us within the human tradition. I just want to clarify that when we talk about traditional astrology, what we're really talking about is like cultural approach to astronomy, a historical approach, archaeological, anthropological approach to understanding the sky. So the sun, when it let's just start with what the sun signifies. The sun and moon, the two luminaries, are going to be the most important bodies when we're talking about astrology, right? And the sun is, because of its, supreme position in the sky, when it comes out, everything else goes away. There's no competition. There's only one sun. There's only one light when the sun is. And so the sun becomes a significator of kings, of rulers, but also the general health of the land, because where the sun is based on sign determines whether things are in seasons of growth, death, decline, things like this. And so when the sun enters Aries, it's the beginning of the new seasons of life in the northern hemisphere. We start to see spring, things grow, and so there is always in an astrological principle this idea that the beginning of something is before it's matured. So this is why that springtime in the tropical season-based application of astrology, it's all about that seed moment when things start to grow. And so when the sun enters Aries, we can begin, it's almost like a birth chart or a solar return for the world. It gives us a little bit of an image as to what's coming ahead on a global stage. But then we can relocate that moment for different places all over the world to understand what's going on, with one country versus another, one region versus another, the headquarters of this company versus the headquarters of that company. So also, CEOs of companies, presidents, or prime ministers, when they step into a position of power, because the sun is the natural significator of rulers and kings and leaders and people who are at the top of a pyramid string of power. When we see that moment happen, it's like giving a prognostication about those who rise to power in that year. So if a CEO, for instance, takes office in May of some year, we would use the Aries ingress from the March before, and that becomes their accession chart, or the chart for when that person took power. Same thing for president, prime minister, anybody who presides over others. So it becomes very useful. Now, the counter to this, if the sun represents, the one at the top, the moon represents the many who can form the base and really supply, the mass kind of energy. And so this is why you also pay attention to new and full moons, because those are going to be giving you an understanding about how things are changing for the people, for the land, for the weather, things that are in greater change.
So what do you
use together?
So it is really, really important explanation and really helpful, because although I've been studying mundane astrology for a long time, I usually see Aries English chart, the Aries English chart, almost the sun English chart, and the new moon, full moon chart as different technique. But while you explain it, I just like, they also have a different theme. Oh my God! Thank you so much. This is a fantastic, because that's why we all learn from each other, because this is something we when we see it from the modern astrology, the view will be totally different. And we just have one question I want to ask, because one of our followers, I think Terry just asked, when you mentioned about the traditional astrology, do you still use the outer planet?
Of course. When you're working with traditional techniques, it doesn't mean that you only use the things that happened before the 1800s. All it means is you use those things and whatever else makes sense to you. So you will find traditional astrologers who use Chiron. You'll find traditional astrologers other
You really surprised me. Like, what?
yeah, there's astrologers who use other asteroids, traditional astrologers. I use the outer planets.
Okay.
I don't use the asteroids, but the only reason is because I feel like I already have enough going on.
Yeah.
It's at some point, and this is, I think, very important for astrologers to kind of make sense of for yourself. You have to understand where you're adding more, but not necessarily adding more. I remember when I first started to learn how to cook, one of the things that surprised me was that you can absolutely add too much flavor to something and they start canceling each other out. Nothing stands out. You don't really get a note of anything anymore. And it's the same thing when you're working with, with astrology. It's not about all the things that you can put into a chart, because if you want to, you can turn on every asteroid, every hypothetical planet.
Definitely, yes.
You'd never be able to get anywhere with it. It would be so much. So it's helpful to make sure you reduce it down to what you can handle. And for me, that's the 7 visible planets, the 3 outer planets that are not visible, and then the 12 signs, 12 houses. That's pretty much what I use. And sometimes I'll bring part of fortune in, but even that sometimes.
Wow. Let's talk about your this conference. I think it is a very big event because not only we have a technique, and also you are trying to cover nearly all the different regions from, Asia, Australia, Pacific, and then also in the Africa and Europe, and also in the I think Middle East and United States, and even Latin America.
Yeah.
Where you find all these astrologers?
Right. Okay. So that's a good point, Ron, because it's. If I had it my way, this conference would be a week long, and we'd have representatives from every region in the world coming to present on their region. But I'll tell you what the issue is. I don't want, what we want is to make sure that we are putting in front of our registrants good astrology. And what's really difficult sometimes is to know, I can see people posting on Facebook sometimes. I can see people putting things on Twitter. That doesn't mean that they know how to present in a conference setting. That doesn't mean they know how to say ideas. So it was a very important selection process to think, here's what we want to do. I would love to say we don't have anybody for Brazil. We need to find somebody to speak for Brazil. We don't have anybody speaking about Saudi Arabia, for instance. We need to find somebody. But that approach, I think, means that you might pick, somebody who's maybe not quite ready, or you're forcing something. Instead, with the planning team, the direction that we took was let's put the names down of all the people who are producing work that inspire us. And that's where we found Mari Garcia. She had so everybody who's in this has already been publishing. It wasn't hard to find their work. We could open something, find their work. They're already out there. So we found Mari Garcia, who's publishing down with the FAA Journal. She published a really beautiful forecast for Aries Ingress in 2023. I met Hande Casanova in Turkey this year with Christine. I think Christine might have already known her, but and Owner. I've also met at conferences this year. Maria Blaquier, representing Argentina, fabulous, fantastic astrologer. There's a number of people who came, and yourself included, Rod, that I know the quality of their work. And so while this is building, we want to make sure we get good quality astrology out there. Now, next time this gets run, I'm hoping that we have a few more countries.
I really hope so.
Yeah, I would like to see somebody representing Japan. I would love to see somebody representing more countries in South America. So when the conference is over, we will be asking our attendees, hey, is there an astrologer out there producing good work that you'd like to be seeing on this program next time around? And let's see what comes out. So.
Yeah, and also I think you are really practice in the as we are talking about the mundane astrology, and you really also include a lot of different topic which is not just politics in. Could you give us some idea?
Yeah, so I had written down, a few years ago, I had written down, I said, if I had my dream conference, what would the topics look like? What would this be like? And I have the note on my iPhone somewhere. I'm pointing like I don't know where my iPhone is. I'm looking at it. But I have this note on my iPhone somewhere. But it basically was like, well, what are all the different topics I would love to see discussed in a really robust, way? And I wrote things like, yeah, politics, sure. I would love to see things about financial forecast, sure. I would also love to see really amazing work done on art movements. I would love to see what people have to say about science and tech. How about infrastructure? I'd love to see what people have to say about world religions. And so what I did, so I just kind of thought, for instance, this topic on world religions, I thought this would make for a really good panel. And I know that Sam Reynolds is really good at talking about the overlay between religion and astrology. And I knew of a few other people who might be good on a panel with Sam. So we figured out a dream team here with Sam and Lindsay to come together to talk about that topic. Deborah Holding will be joining, and she's going to be talking about, these individuals who scam people out of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And all these people who scam financial markets. Wendy Spacey is going to be joining, and she's going to be talking, I think, more from a psychological perspective, which will be great. It'll be different from some of the other more, STA kind of brand kind of vibe. But what Wendy's going to be discussing is how we can see evidence that we're on the brink of major social change, which we've been on the brink many times in human history. But we're still talking about those times, aren't we? We're still talking about the 60s. We're still talking about, what happened in the Industrial Revolution. We've got Michael Morris, who's going to be presenting their research on trans-liberation movements, which is very exciting.
Wow.
So Michael's an example of somebody, I messaged and said, I feel like you would be right for this conference. And they said, I'll do mundane astrology. And I said, I bet you do. Can you talk to me about topics that are of interest to you, social topics, interpersonal topics? Just talk to me. Let's talk about it. And so they took a few hours or days. I don't remember how long it was now, but I feel like it was actually within the same day. Michael came back and said, if I was to talk about anything, it would be about major events in trans protest in the United States and how the astrology is linking into what's going on now. And I said, that's mundane astrology. That's it.
That's mundane astrology.
Yeah,
definitely.
So so then Michael, I was able to talk him into let's do it, and I think Michael's excited about it now. So it's a really, really robust program. I'm very excited about the people that we've got presenting. I know there's going to be fantastic astrology presented. And, hopefully it's just the beginning.
Yes. I'm so excited about to be part of it. And I have to say thank you to you, because not only invite me, but also help me to cross some, I have a little bit, what should I say? I have a little bit of personal, I don't want to say personal issue, but somehow I'm not there enough to say something. Usually I'm not there enough to say, please follow me. That is the things that I think from my cultural background or maybe my personality. I couldn't say that. I'm difficult to say that. So remember when you send out an email that invite everyone to say it and something, then I really reply to you, say, that is a little bit difficult for me. And you are so sweet. You just reply, you know what? Just say it, the people will do it. Okay.
And I got to tell you, you and Christine have the highest number of people referencing you coming in. So as nervous as you were about it, I think people are, definitely connecting with your message for sure.
Yeah. But okay, so interesting. So I think for people still haven't joined this conference, please visit like sta.co/conference.
/conference. sta.co/conference.
Yeah. So I will always put a link on, when we later, if I have to put a story on, I will put a link on there to if anyone want to join us. But it is so exciting because, come on, first the Mundane Astrology Conference. I was so excited when you tell me that. I said, oh yeah, that would be so cool because, for a mundane astrologer, the only thing you don't want to happen is no one listen to you.
No.
Yeah, and finally you have a conference. You're going to meet all your colleagues going to talk about something much bigger than one person. It could be culture. it could be social movement, it could be climate change,
Yeah.
economic, it could be election. Well, but I know people just like, oh, that's political, too political. We don't.
Yeah.
Fine.
Right.
Yeah, but you know that even you talk about why Taylor Swift becomes so popular this year. Her influence would be mundane astrology. Trust me.
Yeah. Exactly right. And yeah, we've got a lot of folks here who are, I think, you know, if you take a look at a standard conference program, so many of the presentations are focused on natal astrology, which is great. There's a lot of appetite for astrology. I don't want to take any of that away, but there's so many more things you can do with astrology, and I'm just really interested in seeing that get, you know, kind of put out there. So that's it's a change.
Definitely. Thank you so much to put everything together. I mean, it is a hard work because I also, while you prepare the world astrology summit, I was preparing my school first conference, which was like me and Yevita.
That looks really exciting.
Yeah, me and Yevita, we just like our first conference, and Yevita told me, say, you know what, I don't want to do it next year. If you want to do it on your own, I know it's hard. And that was like, oh my God. I mean, I always respect people who dare to start a conference and to put it together. And you definitely have my support. And please, everyone, if you haven't joined this wonderful mundane astrology conference, please come to go to the sta.com /conference to join this amazing conference because it will be fantastic.
Yeah, I'd say Rod sent you.
Look, unconsciously, even my mind is say that word, but my mouth is like, no, I refuse.
Yeah, well, you know what it's like. It's always hard to do something for the first time. I'm typing the link out and I'm going to put it inside the chat.
Oh, yes, please put it in the chat so people can see it. Yeah, thank you. That's a fantastic. So, but before we left, I mean, do you want to say anything about this conference? Because I have the following things to ask you.
Hey, I don't know if I have anything else to say in particular about the conference. I think, let's see, it's a few things that I probably could clarify. It's online. It is recorded. And so all the attendees, they get all of the presentations. You'll have 90 days worth of a window to watch. We're advertising 90. The reality is it will probably be longer. I just don't want to, it's going to be a lot of material up on our server, so it's possible that we might have to drop them after 90 days. We'll just see what the size looks like. But we've got 90 days worth of the viewing window, which is, I think, a pretty healthy amount of time. The cost of the conference is $95, and there are, I believe, 20 presentations. So, you know, that's like paying $4.75 per presentation. Yeah. This day of regional forecasts also. I think that's going to be a really important day for people who want to learn how to work with mundane astrology as well. I can understand why somebody might say, okay, well, this presentation on Kenya and Ghana, I don't need to go. I don't know anything about those countries. I don't need to attend this. I don't need to watch it. And you're right. You don't have to do anything. You don't need to do anything. However, every presenter is going to be giving you a new perspective about how they're issuing forecasts for their region. And I can tell you the stuff we're talking about with the Kenya and Ghana forecast, I can guarantee you're not going to hear another presentation. So it's like, it's a little, there are going to be segments in here that are teaching about weather forecasting and mundane astrology, for instance. So yeah, so there's just little tidbits that will be in each of these presentations to make it worth it. So it's less than $5 a talk is what this comes to. It's a great deal. If you happen to be a member of the STA, a graduating member of the STA, or a contributor to the SkyScript, because this is also sponsored by SkyScript.
Yeah.
If you're a member of the SkyScript Patreon, there's an additional discount. So it's $80 instead of $95. You can just message me and I'll get you the link about how to sign up. But $95 otherwise, 90 days worth of viewing, and I think that's pretty much it. And the conference starts, because it's a global thing, we're starting at 5 a.m. my time. This is going to be starting with an Australian time zone, and we're moving west. So we're starting out in Australia, moving into East Asia, Central Asia, into Europe, Africa, and then into the U.S. And so it's kind of, as the world turns, we're kind of going with the sun.
I have to say, you know what? this is dream conference for me. This is dream conference for me, to be honest. So I'm so glad. I'm so happy to be part of this. And it is like, I can see how you organize. I say, yeah, I would do that too. I like this conference. It looks so fun.
Okay.
So, yeah, wait, tell us, apart from, I mean, I noticed was a couple weeks ago, you also run a business astrology
I did
uh,
a
webinar.
Yeah, I did a webinar on business astrology that I had a really great time with that. So this is I'm in the process of, like, I probably shouldn't even say this out loud. I'm in the process of developing a course on mundane astrology. I realize that there's a lot of students who want to be working in uh,
I couldn't hear you.
oh, I think I'm back. Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I drop out, I'll be right back. I have this, like, for Instagram, and it just told me you have 5 minutes left, but it's fine.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, it's to make sure that I'm not on social media too much in a day, you know. So I had this business astrology webinar, mostly because I had so many requests coming in over the last couple of weeks asking about business astrology stuff, and I just thought, well, I'm working on all these things. Why not just see if I can pull it together and into a cohesive presentation? And even then, I really didn't get to talk about a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about. Mostly, I was speaking about the different industries that are associated with each of the signs. And I gave an example about how you might work with an election for a business election, but there's still so much more material that ought to be covered. So I'm hoping to develop a little bit of time to build this into something a little bit bigger. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, and that business astrology, yeah, that's underneath the mundane umbrella for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. That is a really part, and that part of astrology is part of mundane, but the people would be more willing, because who don't want to have a nice election for your company or for the business you're going to do, and even for the event you're going to do. That is part of mundane astrology too, and it is a very important tool. Well, I think because you have a limited time for your social media, and I think it's okay, because we really enjoy this conversation, and I think we delivered all the message. I think I'm really looking forward to see everyone there. And thanks, Waiter, for your time today to join me to talk about this. I can never, when I start talking about mundane astrology, I will never stop. So, I have to limit myself too.
Great. Well, I love that energy. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you, Waiter, to join us today. And I'm really looking forward to see you in next week.
Yeah.
The 23rd and 24th, right? 23rd and 24th.
Conference?
Huh?
Will you be at the AA conference in
I
October?
will be at AA conference. You got me too.
I'll be there.
See you there.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
See
you.
you.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.